guess what? I am not going to be complaining about a trailer coming out and disrupting my schedule for once, because I saw the teaser that came out yesterday saying that this was coming, so I knew. This time I knew, and I dropped it in the morning so I can get it out of the way quickly, and it's not going to screw up my entire day. Let's do this. Deadpool and Wolverine. Latest trailer.
I told you, you're not welcome here. You're not welcome anywhere. Now get the fuck out of my bar.
Just give me one more drink and then I'll leave.
His hair looked like cat ears from behind.
Hi, Peanut. I'm gonna need you to come with me right now.
Look, lady, I'm not interested.
All right, well, I'm sort of on the tick-tick, so upsy daisy.
That's a cheap gag, but it still worked.
Whiskey dick of the claws. It's quite common in Wolverines over 40.
You don't want this.
Yeah, that's not as
Unless
funny.
you want to take a deep breath through your fucking forehead, I suggest you reconsider.
The smile. The smile was what got me there. I feel like they needed to really
I've ever cared about.
own the hair better than that.
Not my fucking problem.
Is that what you said when your world went to shit?
Come again.
This Wolverine let down his entire world.
Ooh.
Want to talk about what's haunting you, or should we wait for a third act flashback?
Go fuck yourself.
I mean, if you're gonna have two guys with healing factor fight each other, go brutal. Yeah, I did catch that this was the song they were building towards.
But you do.
Trust me, kid, I'm no hero.
You were an X-Man. You were the X-Man. I am soaking wet right now.
Starting to worry that Deadpool's stick is wearing on me.
Boys are so silly.
Is that Cassandra?
Nova.
This is what I'm talking about. Big slow motion action sequence. Who knows if you live or die? Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go.
Okay, I did enjoy him saying that. Okay.
Want to do some cocaine?
Hey, cocaine is the one thing that Feige said is off limits.
What about Bolivian marching powder?
They know all the slang terms. They have a list.
Even snowboarding?
Even disco dust.
White girl interrupted?
Even force bump.
Do you want to build a snowman?
Yes. I can't.
Okay. That bit was good because I like Blind Al. I like Blind Al a lot. I've really taken to that actress. It's funny. First time I saw Deadpool, I would have sworn that was Nichelle Nichols. It's not. Here's the name of the performer because I'm afraid I'm gonna forget it or get it wrong because I do that a lot. But no, she's great. She's also in Fallout. She was quite good in that. The new series. Anyway, so this is definitely doing multiversal timeline jumpingness. I called the bald-looking woman Cassandra Nova. Might just be a gender swap version of Professor Xavier. Could go either way. I'm leaning Cassandra Nova. She had villain vibes, but early to call. I think I think what could work about this and might well work in the movie, but didn't properly come across in the trailer, is the dynamic between the two of them. And what I mean by that is Logan's being played very straight in this. Possibly not in the most literal sense, but in terms of like, this is the gruffy, grumpy guy that we always know. And having him be the gruff straight man to Deadpool Wade's antics could absolutely work. And that's a dynamic that has worked in the comics from time to time. I think the thing is, though, for that to work, you kind of have to really build it and have the moments where they play off each other really complemented by the situation and all this other stuff. And that's harder to bring across in the runtime of a trailer. So there were a lot of moments of the two of them kind of ribbing each other, bouncing off each other. There were some moments that worked, and then there were others I was like, I don't know if that's working for me. And I'm not gonna write it off because I think the nature of that dynamic doesn't clip well for trailers. Like, it references well. Like, once you've already seen the movie and you're talking to a friend who's seen the movie and you reference like a certain moment, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, that was so good." But like, that's because you both know the context. Whereas if you were clip that moment out of context, it's like, okay, I guess that's fine. That's kind of what I felt about a lot of this. I did wonder out loud whether or not Deadpool's shtick, which is at this point basically Ryan Reynolds' shtick, is starting to wear on me. Again, that might be a lack of context, and that might sound odd. He's quipping. Why do quips need context? Honestly, they do. Here's the thing: people like to complain a lot about the quippy dialogue in, say, the MCU, and I'm not saying it hasn't been overdone at times. It has. I don't generally have that as a blanket complaint about the MCU, though, because while I admit a lot of the quips are groan worthy in the trailers, oftentimes the ones that don't work in the trailers, in the movie with the proper context and understanding where the characters are at in the moment, it actually fits. Where people tend to complain about quippiness is where, like, it feels like it is jarring against the tone, and that can frequently happen in trailers because you have these big dramatic intense action moments and then somebody quipping from probably a completely different scene. So that's kind of what I mean by jokes can come across not as well because they are lacking the appropriate context of the situation in which they are said, which might be what makes the joke work, whereas the joke in isolation, just said, doesn't do much. I'm thinking of things like Wade going, "I'm so wet right now." Like, in isolation, that's okay. That's a somewhat inappropriate thing. He says that. But depending on the lead up to the moment, or like what has been said immediately prior to that, and how fitting or much of a non sequitur it is when he says it, it might still land with me in the movie proper. So I'm starting to get to a point where I actually think in general, comedies are hard to cut trailers for. Kind of for the reasons I'm talking about. This has become largely a philosophical discussion on the nature of cutting trailers for comedies, because as much as people like to think that jokes, like a joke is a joke, and people, executives will get a script doctor and like put more jokes in this. I'm like, jokes need context to work. And if they have no particular context, they might still be funny, but they're not going to be as funny as having correct context or being wildly inappropriate to the context. Sometimes that is what makes it work. And all of that proper context is hard, if not impossible, to bring across in a trailer. It's why a lot of the groaningest moments in any trailer that ends on a comedic note, if it didn't appear to be a largely comedic movie, you're just like, "Oh God, really?" Because they're taking that moment completely out of whatever context it is normally in to be a joke button at the end of a trailer. And this really has become a discussion of the nature of comedic trailers. I need to bring it back to this in specific, because that's kind of what you're here for. Sorry, my brain spun off. I really think they needed to lean into the hair more. Like, Wolverine's hair in the comics is preposterous. It is a look that you cannot get without massive amounts of attention and product in the hair. It is ridiculous. It's basically a beehive with a dent in it. It's it's ridiculous. And the thing is, I kind of wish they'd really gone with that, because what they've gone with instead is a vague hint to the hair that he has in the comics, which looks a little bit more like he has bedhead. He's just like got a couple of errant strands sticking up that he hasn't bothered to run a comb through, which, I mean, like, if you're going for a gritty, and like they're playing him straight, but at the same time, like, you put him in the yellow costume, own the hair. Come on. Like, and again, maybe I won't feel this when I see the whole thing, but I feel like it would be funnier to have this super gruff Wolverine, really just, "No, leave me alone," kind of thing. And you could have Wade point out, like, "How much time did you spend on that hair? Come on now." Like, I feel like there's missed jokes. I think it would have been a better visual. I'm oddly hung up on the hair. The two of them beating each other up has the potential to be a lot of fun, because they both have completely broken healing factors. So yeah, that could be a lot of fun. The action scenes overall look pretty good, which it is one of the things that I think people oftentimes forget to praise about the Deadpool movies, or at least the first one. I'm not saying that the second one doesn't have good action. Well, no, it does. It has like the domino sequence, which is amazing. But I was gonna say I haven't rewatched the second one in a very long time because I don't like it. But the domino action sequence is phenomenal. Like Deadpool has legitimately good action, which is important because good action holds up to repeat viewings more than repeating jokes does. So again, the context in which he works, it matters. So yeah, that. Even though like I didn't laugh a lot while watching it, I'm not taking that as a massive problem because I'm invested enough in this character and I enjoy him enough that I think I will have a good time, and I feel confident in going like, yeah, I should probably see this, and I will probably laugh in the theater. Like comedy, I think comedy and jump scare style horror are best watched with a crowd because you want to get wrapped up in the reactions of everybody else. It enhances your own experience of it. I do think that very legitimately. Things that are meant to have massive crowd reactions. The entire crowd laughs. The entire crowd screams. Like those are better to watch with a crowd. And I think this might be one of the movies I go out of my way to try and see in a theater for that reason. Less so for the theater experience. I don't care that much at this point in my life, but just to lose myself to the fun of it. It's so weird. I didn't have that many oh yeah moments while watching it, but I'm thinking like, no, I still feel pretty good about this, which is super odd considering again, I didn't like the second one very much. I'm kind of surprised I'm as enthusiastic as I am about it. I'm not going to over-examine it because it feels nice to be looking forward to something when it might be a case of if I stop and think about it, maybe I shouldn't be. I'm gonna just let myself think, you know what, this could be a good time. I'm just going to let myself think that. I'm not going to question it to the best of my ability. So what'd you think of this trailer? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon pays the bills, enables me to do this as my living, even if you can't help me out that way. Like, share, subscribe. Those all help. Don't worry too much about it, though. We take a relaxed attitude around here, so you can come on back next time you need a break. Now to thank my highest supporting patrons: Robin Moore, Zubin Lutfula, Goddess Elida, Oliver B., Tarak, the thing that goes doink in the anime, Fare Forit, Ulrich Bogdan, Loki Eris, Melinda Walters, Jen, Auntie808, Becky Sparks, Fernabilax the Poodle, Tracy Scrabbit, Angry Casperl, Dave Hall, White Bearish, Rosalind Bennett, Toku Bluhuvian, Pau Barabajago, and Mara G. Thank you for your support and for keeping me and these guys fed. What are you doing?